Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Anybody that's new, welcome. So today we are going to do the Grinch tree and the Grinch made out of Jenga blocks. We are going to use the tumbling tower, aka Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. They can be found in the kids toy section. Now a box comes 72 pieces in it. If you can't find them in your store and you're in the US, you can order them online, dollartree.com. I think the minimum you have to order is 3, or you can order a case. If you get it shipped to your store, you don't pay shipping, or you can pay the shipping that could go to your house. Now, I've gotten a coupon. I live in Canada, but I just signed up just to see the coupons when they send it out to inform you guys. But I just got a coupon when I signed up the next day for $5.99 flat shipping. So maybe you want to order from there. I know a lot of stores run out of them pretty fast, so I'm hoping you're all going to be able to find some. I am going to use Wellbond. Wellbond can be found at some hardware stores, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Amazon. This is a preference I use, but you're more than welcome to use Gorilla Glue or any type of wood glue that you've worked with before and has worked for you. This is my preference that I like using. So we're going to start off with the Grinch tree. It's going to be 151 blocks. And I'm going to start from the base up, just for when we get to the top. So I'm just going to try to find some blocks here. I just need one block. Oh, we got some blocks here too. So we're going to start with the bottom and going all the way up on the tree. They're all going to be going this lengthwise. So when we're gluing them, you're going to glue them like sideways, like 1, 2, 3, the longest part facing up and down. So we're going to start with the first row, which is 16. Before I go on, you might want to pause the video and grab a pen and paper. It's always good to write them down. That's what I do when I'm building this, so I just remember how many blocks as we go along, and I can let you guys know as well, and it just keeps it fresh in your mind too as well. So we start with 16, now 15, and we're just going to go exactly similar to the Christmas trees that I did a couple tutorials ago. So we're at 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, we're going to do like pyramid, 7, 6, we're going to do 3 rows of 5. I'm just going to put them right here like this for now. Now, as we get to the 3 rows of 5, we're going to add one more. Now this one's off. There's going to be the other piece that hangs over, but so when we get to the 3 rows of 5, you're just going to kind of put it over. Just watch this side. You'll see the little opening there. Just a little bit over. Just a little bit over that way. Just a little bit over that way. Now this piece I already glued together. Now these are 8 blocks and they're just glued 1 down, 2 up. You can play with it. This is how I just liked it. It's just kind of it's almost like a little stairs if you want to, kind of like looks like stairs. And we're just going to put it right there. You want enough room. I'm not going to use this Christmas ball because it's too small, but you just want enough that I'm going to go bigger, but you can always play around so when you're doing it over. So how there's just a little bit, I'm trying to just do it. You just got to play with it a little bit. So this one's just off the top, which is 6. I'm not going to do it straight on. I'm just going to do it off just a little bit. And then you'll have that little angle there. I'm going to get all these glued together and I am going to let them dry for a good 6 hours before I touch it. It does say on the Well Bond package, so make sure you do read your package. It does say up to an hour, but cures in 24. So that's why I always say, I know we all get excited and we want to play around with it and start painting and all that. I would just leave it a good, you know, couple hours. I'm not going to touch this for a couple hours until we move on to the next step. So that's been about 6-7 hours that I've let it dry while I went to work today. I'm going to file the edges just lightly on the sides going all the way up. Try to make this part a little bit more round, and the same thing with on the inside, just all the way around, and a little bit on the back side. And I wouldn't touch the bottom level. You just want to keep that straight. I use this is my little Dremel hand drill that I like. Since I work with blocks a lot, I find this is a lot easier than using these things, but you don't have to buy it. You can just use a filing. If you watch my videos before, you don't have to get those, but these just work as well. Just a little bit harder to get the lines off, or make the edges more round. Sorry guys. So these are just things from DT. It's a crafting block that's in the crafting section, another one hardware section, and in the beauty section is just a coarse nail file. These are all from DT. You could use those as well. Once I get all the sides rounded, I am just going to paint the tree pine green, and it's just a Dollar Tree paint. While I was filing it, I was thinking that a couple of the projects that I've done with the blocks, I am going to fill just some of the little corners to bring it up so it's not so stepped down. So I'm just going to stick them a little bit of hot glue in between the cracks. This one went down a little bit. I should have kept it up a little bit more, but I'm just going to stick some hot glue here, a little bit into the corners right around there. Once it's dry, the hot glue is totally dry on all of it, all the way going around. I am then going to paint it the pine green. Now that I painted it, up here is still a little bit too straight for me, but I'm just going to build it up with some moss. If you don't want to do that, you could just add an extra block, fill it in with the glue on each side. It's kind of messy here, but that's okay because we're going to cover it. At least it's the moss will stick better here because it's filled in a little bit more. Now I'm just going to use some white glue. I'm just going to paint it on. The moss comes out pretty big. It comes out in bigger chunks. And all I did was take some scissors and I just put it in a bowl and I just cut away to make the pieces smaller. I will just paint on the white glue, which dries clear, and I will do the coats all the way around the tree. Don't do the bottom. While the tree is drying, and it's looking pretty good, guys, and I didn't put the 2 blocks, I just put an extra layer on top of the floral moss. It looks really good, but I'm not going to touch it because it's still a little bit drying because I did another little bit of a coat in patches. So for the base, we are going to use 18 blocks, 9 on each one, so 3, 3, that's 9, just stacked like that, one on top of each other, and times 2, which gives you 18. So for the tree, it's 169 blocks. We're going to glue them together like this. Now about halfway down, I am just going to round the side. So this is going to be the trunk of the tree with the file or buffer. And I'm only going to paint just a little bit over half. I'm going to use some, sorry guys, it's been a long day. Some stain, just some gel stain that I have, just wood stain that I am going to do. Once that is done and they're dried and painted, I'm going to use this container. Now I bought this at DT the other day. It was only 1, so I don't know if there was many or if it was put in the wrong spot. I did take the handle off it, and I had to open up the little circular there with a knife to get this off, and I didn't want to use the cutters because I wanted to make sure that I got it totally off. I think I could probably hammer that out, but I think I'm going to destroy the bucket. If you do not have a little bucket like this, you could also use a clay pot. My DT didn't have any flower pots at all, and I thought I had one at home originally, and I didn't, and I went out and they don't have any. So I'm gonna use this one. I like the colors of it already, so I was gonna leave it like that, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit. On the bottom part where it's red, I'm just gonna paint on a coat of Mod Podge and add some red glitter on the bottom. Once that's dry, I'm just gonna put another coat of the gloss Mod Podge over it to seal the glitter. On the white part here, I am just gonna paint those white so it doesn't peek out from what I'm gonna put over it, which is just some fun fur that I got from, this is from Dollarama. I've had this roll forever and it's been awesome. And then I'm just gonna, over top is I'm just gonna wrap around right where the white is, and you don't have to be perfect with the red. If you can do that on the clay pot as well, and just have the white trim on the top with the glitter on the bottom. When this is painted and dry, like I said, halfway down, I am going to use Wellbond. I'm gonna pop it on there. It's not going to show you now. It's kind of coming apart, but once I have it on there, so you're going to see, how can I show it here? That much of it. But if you use one of the clay pots a little bit shorter, you're going to have, so you just have to measure that out. That's why I just said just over half. Once that's glued down, I do have some I just have some extra rocks. I just thought the white, I only have a little bit of white, and just doesn't matter what kind of rocks, just to stick in the base to hold the tree up and just to give it weight so it doesn't tip over. It still stands on its own with that little bit hanging over on the one side of the tree. But I just wanted to give it, you know, some extra weight to the bottom so it doesn't fall over. And it also gives it a nice support for keeping the rocks on the inside. Let me get that done. Once that's glued on, I'm going to glue the tree right on top, and I'm going to stick some Spanish moss right around the top of just a little bit of Spanish moss just around, just to stick over a little bit nicely. I think it would turn out really good. So once I get that done, I will show you, and then we'll move on to the Grinch. So here's the Grinch tree. I added just a little bit of the moss in there, and I like that I put the rocks so it just keeps the balance really well, and just so that it won't tip over. And I think it turned out really cute with the fur, and the moss turned out really well on there, the floral moss. Now, even up top, I didn't even have to put any extra on there, and I think it turned out really well. I just glued a ball on with a little bit of gold ribbon, just hot glued it right on, and just put a little piece of floral moss over there to cover where I glued it on. So let's change the camera and let's start the Grinch tree, or the Grinch. Now we're going to start with the Grinch, and we're going to start with the head. We are going to do 4 blocks, the long ways left to right. And then we're going to switch to up and down, the longer facing up and down. That's 8. Another row of 8. You're just going to center it. Then we're going to switch the direction again to left to right, the widest point. We're going to do 5. We're going to do 6. 7, another row of 7, back to 6, and 5. So that equals 50 blocks just for the head. I'm just going to make sure it's centered all the way on both sides. Then we're going to do the neck, left to right. We're going to do row 3, right in the center, and another row of 3. So the neck is 6. Now for the body. Now we're going to do up and down again, the longer part facing up and down. We're going to do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to skip right to 14, 15, 16, another row of 16, 14, and then we're going to go left to right the long ways, 7, and then 6. Gonna glue these all together. I'm gonna let them sit, so make sure whatever glue you're using, you make sure that there's enough time that it actually bonds totally before start playing with it. Once it is fully set, I am going to round the corners as I've shown you before. I'm not even gonna pull out my hand drill. You could use the buffers, and I'm just gonna round the edges off all around the corners on the sides and the back. Now that I filed them down and I rounded the edges, there's a couple little options. So I did add 3 blocks on the top of his head right here, right in the center, only because with the 4 blocks I found the head was too flat, and then I was like, I was gonna add a Santa hat, but I changed my mind. I'm just gonna do a scarf on him. I'm not gonna do the Santa hat because I want the fur to show on the top of his head. I'm still waiting for the fur. I think I've said this, it's already running 4 days late. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. Not sure if it's gonna come, but I wanna do the fur in the head when it does come. So I'm gonna leave without Santa hat. So if you're going to add a Santa hat on top, don't add the 3 blocks on top, just leave it as is because it's not gonna make a difference. Now you can just paint as is, or yeah, we're gonna do paper towel mâché again. I know I'm stuck on doing that, and it's a little bit time consuming, guys, but I really liked how the gingerbread man turned out, and I think I did the angel, and I'm trying to think, I did a couple different paper mâchés if you watch the Jenga block Christmas trees. So I really liked how it turned out, and I just want to fill these in to give it more of a round edge. Like, these are keep things we're always going to keep, right? So it's always nice to have them big. If you're going to do it, you know, we're going to do it right. If you don't want to do that and you just want to do it the easy way and just paint it, that's totally fine too, guys. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I take these little jobs and I like to take a little bit extra step. So we're just going to go with the hot glue, as you can see in the corners here, and just give it a couple little lines. So when you do go over with the paper towel mâché, and I'm just going to show you, we're going to use, I'm just going to grab it. If you are new to my channel and you just rip up some paper towel in pieces like this, doesn't matter what it looks like, just don't get one with a print on it, a colored print. This one has a print on it, but you can't see it obviously. And then with the white glue, you can use a brush it on like you were painting it, and put a piece on. When it's a little crinkly like that, I like to keep it all flat. And when you put it on, then you brush more paint on it, and then you just keep layering it. Now the best thing about when you fill in the little glues, the hot glue on the corners of the little sections here, is when you get to the side, I'll show you from the side view actually. When you do it like this, it rounds it more so it's not so blocky looking. And I think it'll just turn out fine that way. So that's what I'm gonna do, but like I said, you can paint. So I'm gonna do that and get all the paper mache, or the paper towel mache, especially too when you do the paper towel mache, you do have to let it dry overnight. So I'm gonna get that all done and do the glue and that, and then we're gonna move on to the feet once we have that done. I let him dry overnight, and this morning there was a few little spots that I just did a touch-ups on, only because I wanted a little bit more rounder, just on a few spots that were sticking out a lot more. And I think it turned out really well. Now, remember, you don't have to add the 3 on top if you don't want to, if you're gonna put a hat on, because you don't want it rounded. Obviously the hat you're not gonna notice. That's why I added the 3, because I'm not gonna do a hat, because I wanna do the fluffy fun fur hair. I'm gonna paint this the neon green from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna paint that. I did not put any of the paper towel mache on the bottom because we want to keep it flat for when we add the feet, and you're not going to see under his body anyways and not notice the difference. Now for the feet, I should say feet, the legs, we are going to do 3 and 3, which is 6, and they're just going to be stacked like this on one another. We're going to add another 2, one right over the other, on the back like this. I don't know if this side will be better. Nope. Sometimes they're not glued very straight, as you know, because they're not all cut the same. You're going to glue it like this with this part facing the back, just for the extra support of him and the balance once we put his feet on. And then we're going to add on the front, we're going to do another 3. I call this stacked. Excuse me. And then we're going to turn it sideways like that, and just for the front, so it's just going to be like a foot like this. This is going to be in the back. Now I am going to do paper mache on here. I wasn't going to, but I am going to with the extra support. So once I have it glued like this, I am going to put just some hot glue here to round it out. And I'm just going to round the sides. I'm not going to touch the bottom. We're going to round the sides with the file. You're just going to leave the top and leave the bottom so it does stay flat. And just, you can round the sides here a little bit as well. You're not going to notice because we're going to put some fur on his feet. I'm going to do that obviously off camera, and I'm going to get this started with the green neon for the main part of the body. So I have the feet painted with the neon green. The body's done. I'm just we're gonna move on to the arms. I'm gonna just let the feet dry before we, the legs and feet dry. So the total blocks that we'll use is 219, and that includes the 3 that I put in top. So if you don't put the 3 in top, you just minus at 216. So we're gonna do the arms, and I kind of contemplated with using blocks and everything, but thought I'm gonna be back into the hair rollers. Now, if you did the sleigh and you bought the hair rollers, these are from DT. I used them on the Jenga block sled that I just recently did, and I just thought that these would work perfect. Not because they're green, I just thought they'd be good for their bendable arms. So what you're going to do is you're going to move it down like this, and that pops right off. I'm going to hold this here for a second because I got to explain this. So at Halloween, they came out with these glow in the dark. It doesn't have to be glow in the dark. They came out with these little skeleton hands, and I chopped them down to make it a shorter level. And I picked 2 of them. Now the thing is, the hands are all, I don't want to say the right hand, but they're all faced this way, depending, I guess, the way but they're both going to be the exactly same. So I did the opposite on the other hand, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. So where you have a hand like this, where this hand, oh, I shouldn't have pulled this one off. Okay, I can still bend it back. And then a thumb like this. So you keep it, it's just going to be the opposite, that you will cut the, I guess if you want to call it the pinky as the thumb, and keep the thumb longer so that you have both hands like this. The great thing about this is it already has a hole in it that you can just, I had to play around with it, and it does hook in there. It's just, there's that little bit of, what do you call it? The coating, the white coating on the wire. And of course, we're gonna have to get that off. I'm not gonna keep the video going. I'm just gonna come right back and take that coating off. So what I did was I used just my wire cutters, and I just, as if I was going to cut the wire, and I just clipped it around the side just to get the majority of it off. It's just that coating makes it a little bit thicker to fit in the hole. Then I just got my crafting tweezers, and you just pull it off. You just need a little bit of the tip off. Then just grab some little scissors. Just make the hole just a little bit bigger. Now it should just hook in there. Maybe I should have waited till, oh, there we go. Where's my pliers? Now you have an arm. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to shape it. So I don't want to bring him here because he's still, let me see if he's a little bit wet. He's still a little bit wet. So I already did the right arm, so I'm going to do the left arm. So when you're doing the arm, just imagine putting your hand this way and putting it on your hip. You know when you're mad and then your hands stick outward of your body? So I'm going to go like this. And you're just going to bend it. And then the thumb will face towards more of the back. So I'm going to twist it. This one's not clipping in it. I think I bent the other one. I got my little boo-boo there. I'm just going to bend it back. It's a lot easier when I did the first one. It's because I'm showing you guys. There we go. There, now it's nice and solid. Okay, so we're this way. Trying to think, sorry guys. So like that. Now over that, we are going to use some chenille stems, just basically green pipe cleaners, I guess, if you want to call them. Now they did match the neon green, which I did like. They're just a tad off, but that's okay. And then we're going to wrap it. And I didn't even hot glue the other one I did. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It looks super cool. And I didn't glue them on. And I didn't count how many pipe cleaners, so I'm just assuming. So you're just going to keep wrapping it all the way around. I'm not going to do the whole thing on the camera here. And just make sure it's nice and tight, and then keep going all the way around till you get to the end. Once you do that, you're going to take your neon green, 2 coats on each side of the hand, and then you're going to come up with a hand like this. So I've already painted it green, and you're going to have it on the side of each. So it'll look like he has his hands on the hip. I'm going to get this done with the pipe cleaners, paint that green, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so I used my Cricut, and I hardly ever use it, and it was in the basement. I had to bring it back up. I thought, I'm not going to paint it. I just did the face. Now, I didn't have yellow vinyl. The vinyl is from DT. I've never had a problem using it. I've only done a couple of projects, and it's been fine. I just used white or yellow foam board, and I glued the sticker right on it. Well, I didn't glue the sticker. The sticker was sticky, but I glued it right behind the foam board, and then I just glued the little foam paper right onto the Jenga block, onto the face. I think it turned out really well so far, and I'm really excited. So let's get this tutorial wrapped up. So I haven't glued the legs on. I just find it a lot easier to maneuver and put things on before you glue the legs, and gluing the legs is the last thing. So I want to do some hair. So I got my Amazon package finally today, and I was very disappointed. The hair that I saw, the fun fur, wasn't the exact same color that matched this one. Anyways, so didn't make a difference, because yesterday when we were getting the decorations out, I was in the basement moving some things around, and I opened this box, and what was pointing at me? So leprechaun mustache from, I guess it was my my St. Patty's Day box that I kept the stuff I haven't used. So I was just like, wow. So, and it matched perfectly for the color. I had 2 packs. I don't know why I bought it. I guess I thought I was going to use it. I never did. So I've already cut one up, so we're not going to see me cutting everything up, as I normally don't show everything because I tend to, I guess, play around too much. So this is the mustache that you see right here attached. I just pulled it off, and I'm just going to glue it like this. I'm just going to plop it right on his head, and I'm just going to put it over more to the side. I'm going to play around. I can't see right up there, otherwise you'll see the back of my head. So I'm going to play around with it. Just going to go right on top. That's for his head. Now for the arms, I did do both arms. Like, tell me how that doesn't look so cute, guys. I think it looks amazing. I didn't even glue the pipe cleaners on. They just worked really well. I just kind of, and it's twistable and bendable, that you can just put, like, their hand is on their hip. Looks great. Now, when you glue it, I'm just gonna use hot glue. Everything's hot glue now. There's no well bond except for attaching the legs, and I will attach that last and leave that overnight to fully seal. If you do see a little bit of the white plastic thing, you can just use a little paintbrush and just use some of your neon green paint from DT. On the hands, I do want to add a little bit of fur. So I just cut a little piece off. It does look short, and I'll show you that in a second. I am gonna do it right on the front part, glue it right around the wrist, that it just has a little bit sticking out. We don't need much on for both of the hands. I'm gonna show you the feet. On the front part of the feet, I did the sides of the beard. On the sides right here, and I cut it on an angle, like a triangle, like a piece of pie. Gonna glue it in the back of the feet. Just hot glue it like that. Just kind of twist it up. I am gonna trim it. It is a little bit too long, and I'm gonna show you about cutting the fur in a second. I'm gonna do that to the feet. So we got the arms, the feet, the head. Around the neck, I wanna put some, even though I'm gonna put a scarf on it, I wanna put some, and the top of the beard that wraps around right under the mustache part here. Sorry, the glare, guys. I know it looks kind of white. I was looking when I was setting up the video, it kind of looks white. It's just the glare from the camera. I just cut the top part off, and I'm just gonna wrap it around. Once again, too long. So I am gonna trim it down a bit. I wanna add some around the neck. I don't know why. Yeah, so hands, feet, head, neck, scarf. Now DT has come in with these scarves we're supposed to wear, not liking the balls on them. I already cut one down. It was this wide, it was just way too wide. I opened it all up like this. This was half of one side. So that's how much, when you open it up, how wide it actually is. And then I just hot glued it, or I did it the opposite way. Hot glued it shut like that, and then turned it inside out. And I did a little bit more angles on the end to wrap it around his neck. I'm just gonna show you here. Like this. And then I was gonna add pom-poms, but I said, no, you know what? I got some white bells. Now everything is from DT except the Wellbond glue and these Christmas balls, or little Christmas bells. And I'm just gonna hot glue those right on the ends like that. There is going to be a little fur sticking out. Now, I just wanted to show you quickly, when you're using this fun fur, and I think I don't know which tutorial I was doing. Bad comb, but I always use a comb when I'm doing my hair. So it depends. I think it was the Christmas tree fun fur Christmas tree I did, the Jenga block one. When you're wanting to cut a piece, say you want to cut that piece, I wouldn't just cut it straight across. Do it like you're brushing your hair, like you're gonna cut your bangs or whatever, and put it upwards like that. This way you're not cutting, because if you cut it just straight across, you're just gonna have a blunt cut, and then you're just gonna cut along the straight in the line, and here, for example, then you just flip it back over, and that's what you have. Now, with the, sorry guys, is this going around the neck? Yeah. With this around the neck, because it is too long, you're just gonna, I don't like these scissors cutting that. Let's do this one. You're just gonna randomly cut. No, these ones don't work. I'm just gonna use my fabric one. You're just gonna randomly cut like this to make it shorter. Do not go straight across, or it's gonna be straight all the way around. So I am going to glue all this together. I'm gonna leave it overnight. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna show you what it looks like upright and everything attached along with the Grinch tree, and then we'll finish the video. All right, guys, here he is all glued together. I think he turned out fantastic. I love that I found that fur in my box downstairs from my St. Patty's Day stuff. The fur turned out so much better than expected. The arms you can actually switch. I forgot to mention that earlier. Because they are foam arms, you can actually switch that he's actually holding the Christmas ball. The only thing is you just gotta be careful, because they are foam arms using foam rollers, that you can't use a really heavy Christmas ball. It'd have to be a really tiny one. I just like the look with the hands on the hip. And I already did the Jenga block Grinch tree, which I forgot to put in this scene, but we already showed you during the tutorial. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Happy crafting, and see you soon. Bye.